Most people wait for the perfect moment, but the truth is, success waits for no one. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary isn't talent, it's how fast you move, how sharply you focus, and how masterfully you control your mind. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to stop drifting, start dominating, and turn your thoughts into unstoppable results. When it comes to creating a life of wealth and freedom, the first lesson is simple, yet profoundly overlooked. Don't wait for the right time, make it right. I've seen too many people linger at the edge of opportunity, hesitating because conditions weren't perfect, because the timing wasn't ideal, or because they feared failure. Let me tell you something I learned early in my journey. Opportunity favors action, not perfection. You don't get paid for time. You get paid for the value you bring to time. It isn't the calendar, the season, or the circumstances that determine your success. It's what you do with this very moment that shapes your life. The strategy is straightforward. Stop waiting for the conditions to be perfect. The truth is, they never will be. Waiting to feel ready is a luxury the world does not grant. Real progress begins the moment you commit to starting. The act of beginning, even imperfectly, creates momentum that circumstances cannot replicate. Think of it this way: a person who begins now with what they have will always be ahead of the one who waits for perfect alignment. In my own life, I didn't wait to have the perfect education or the perfect job. I started where I was, using what I had. That decision to act, to bring value to my own time, set the foundation for everything that followed. Practically, this means taking action today. Begin now with whatever resources, skills, or knowledge you already possess. Schedule daily progress tasks instead of perfection goals, small, deliberate steps that move you forward consistently. Each day you delay, you lose not just time, but compounding momentum. Treat every day as if it's the last day you can start, and use it to push yourself closer to the life you desire. Remember, the perfect moment isn't coming. The right moment is now. Your wealth, your freedom, your growth, all of it starts the moment you decide to stop waiting and start doing. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement, and yet so many people underestimate its power. You see, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. It's not about grand gestures or lucky breaks. It's about showing up consistently, even when motivation is absent, even when the excitement has faded. In my own life, I didn't achieve wealth or freedom overnight. I built it by creating routines that became non-negotiable, habits that shaped my actions before I even felt like acting. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's a tool that aligns your daily life with your larger vision. The strategy here is to replace emotion-driven behavior with rule-driven consistency. Too often, we act on how we feel, letting moods dictate effort, letting frustration or fatigue dictate focus. But the disciplined person knows that emotions are fleeting while rules endure. Habits become the scaffolding that supports bigger achievements. By creating structure in your day, you free your mind from indecision and hesitation. You no longer rely on willpower alone. You rely on systems that make growth inevitable. In my career, the most successful decisions came not from inspiration, but from following disciplined routines that compounded over time. Practically, this means choosing 3 non-negotiable habits that feed your growth. Reading to expand your mind, planning to direct your time, exercising to sharpen your body and energy. Review these habits weekly, keep what moves you forward, discard what drains you without return. One of the most powerful tools I've used is a habit contract. With myself, a written agreement that defines what I commit to, signed by my own hand, holding me accountable. Discipline isn't glamorous, and it isn't always enjoyable, but it is the quiet engine of progress. The bridge from your current state to your goals exists. You simply have to walk it each day, step by step, until what once seemed distant becomes inevitable. Focus on what matters most. This is the principle that separates the truly successful from the merely busy. You see, life is full of noise, full of demands, distractions, and trivial urgencies that pull our attention away from what really counts. Don't major in minor things. I often remind myself, because the energy you spend on the insignificant is energy you'll never reclaim. In my own journey, The people who achieved extraordinary results weren't those who did more tasks, but those who did the right tasks. They focused on priorities that had lasting impact and let the rest fade into the background. The strategy is simple, but it requires courage separate urgency from importance. Not everything that screams for attention deserves it. Saying yes too often to requests, trends, or distractions dilutes your power. The disciplined achiever learns to say no more than yes, protecting time and energy for what will truly move the needle. Wealth, influence, and freedom come to those who guard their focus as fiercely as they guard their money. In my own life, I learned to ask myself daily which activities align with my vision and which simply fill time. This filtering process became my secret weapon for growth. Practically, begin each day by identifying your top 3 priorities, the tasks that will advance your goals, your skills, or your vision. Then, make a conscious effort to eliminate one distraction each week, perhaps a habit, a notification, or an unnecessary commitment. Finally, for every opportunity, meeting, or request, pause and ask, will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, it doesn't deserve your focus. The noise of life will always try to claim your attention, but the person who thinks bigger, acts wiser, and protects their focus will always rise above it. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most and letting everything else quietly fall away. Emotions are powerful, but they are servants, not masters. One of the greatest lessons I've learned, and one that has shaped every success I've had, is that discipline weighs ounces, while regret weighs tons. When emotion drives decisions, whether it's fear, anger, or impatience, the cost is almost always heavier than the temporary relief of acting impulsively. In my own early days, I made the mistake of responding immediately to setbacks and conflicts. Each time, I paid the price: missed opportunities, strained relationships, and financial mistakes. Over time, I realized that mastering emotions was not optional. It was essential to building a life of wealth and freedom. The strategy is clear: learn to act with logic, even when emotion screams for attention. Emotions will always arise, they are part of being human, but you can control how they influence your actions. Wealth is not just accumulated in the bank, it is accumulated in the mind. The people who build lasting success are those who pause, reflect, and choose the path of reason over reaction. Emotional discipline creates clarity, confidence, and the power to navigate challenges without being tossed by temporary storms. Practically, begin with the 24-hour rule for major decisions. When tempted to act from anger, fear, or excitement, wait a full day before responding. This simple pause often prevents mistakes you'd regret for years. When strong emotions arise, don't suppress them. Channel them through writing. Journaling allows your mind to process feelings without harming your relationships or your finances. Finally, create daily emotional rituals: deep breathing, reflective walks, or mindful journaling. These small, consistent practices strengthen your inner control, making you less reactive and more strategic. Remember, emotions are like rivers. They can flood your life if left unchecked, but they can also power your growth if channeled wisely. Discipline in the moment prevents regret for a lifetime. Your mindset is the invisible architect of your life. One of the most powerful truths I've discovered is that your life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. Too many people spend their days hoping circumstances will improve, wishing for luck, or waiting for someone else to create opportunity. But the reality is that lasting change begins in the mind. Before you can upgrade your income, your relationships, or your freedom, you must first upgrade the lens through which you view the world. Your thoughts are the seeds, your reality is the harvest. The strategy is simple but profound. Focus on changing your thoughts before chasing external results. When your beliefs expand, your possibilities expand. A scarcity mindset will always attract limitations, while an abundance mindset opens doors you didn't even know existed. Every wealthy, successful, and fulfilled person I've met has mastered their thinking first. They didn't wait for the world to change. They changed their response to the world. Your circumstances are a mirror of your mindset. Improve the reflection, and the environment follows naturally. Practically, start by replacing every "I can't" with "How can I?" This small linguistic shift forces your brain to move from limitation to solution. Each day, journal one empowering belief, a statement about your potential, your resilience, or your capability, and read it aloud to reinforce it. Surround yourself with people who challenge your limits, not those who confirm your fears. The conversations you have, the books you read, and the mentors you follow should all stretch your thinking. Your mind is like a garden. If you plant weeds of doubt, that is what will grow. If you plant seeds of possibility, that too will flourish. By cultivating empowering thoughts, you create a reality that matches the life you desire, not the life circumstance you were born into. Change your mind first, and your life will follow naturally. Wealth is not merely a number in your bank account or a reflection of your material possessions. True wealth is a mirror that reflects who you are becoming. One of the most important lessons I've learned, and one that transformed my own life, is that if you want to have more, you have to become more. It's not about chasing money, it's about cultivating the person capable of handling and generating that money. A wealthy mindset begins with personal growth, and the accumulation of wealth inevitably follows as a natural consequence. The strategy is straightforward: focus relentlessly on becoming a better version of yourself. Too many people measure progress by their paychecks or their status, but this is a shallow reflection. The real measure is in your character, your skills, your resilience, and your ability to contribute value to others. When you elevate your personal capacity, emotionally, intellectually, and morally, wealth is drawn to you because you have become worthy of it. Income growth without personal growth is fragile, but personal growth inevitably compounds into sustainable wealth, freedom, and fulfillment. Practically, start by investing at least 10% of your income into self-development. Read books, attend seminars, hire mentors, or take courses that expand your skills and knowledge. Set goals for the traits you wish to embody. Discipline, patience, courage, integrity, not just the possessions you wish to acquire. Regularly track your progress in learning, leadership, and skill mastery, not just sales numbers or profit margins. For instance, I remember spending countless hours studying the habits and philosophies of successful people, not to mimic their wealth directly, but to adopt the mindset and habits that would make wealth inevitable. Over time, every small improvement in your abilities, judgment, and character compounds into a life that naturally attracts opportunity, prosperity, and freedom. Focus on becoming more, and wealth becomes an effortless reflection of that transformation. The power of purposeful speed is one of the most underrated principles in building a meaningful and wealthy life. You see, desire alone is not enough. Many people have dreams, but dreams without action are like unlit candles. They hold potential, but no warmth or light. I've learned that the moment we pair clarity with action, momentum begins to multiply, and the universe responds to decisiveness. This is why a sense of urgency is so critical. When you act with purpose, every step you take has weight, and every decision compounds into results. Desire without urgency loses its value because it becomes idle longing rather than a force for change. Now, strategy matters here. It's not about reckless speed. It's about calculated, purposeful movement. Think once, act 10 times. Once you've gathered the necessary information and clarity, you don't delay. Action must follow insight, or your good ideas wither in procrastination. I remember early in my career, when I first understood the value of moving decisively. I had opportunities to present ideas, start projects, and meet mentors. The ones I executed immediately propelled me forward far faster than those I hesitated on. Hesitation costs more than mistakes because momentum is lost and the world doesn't pause for deliberation. So, what are practical ways to implement this principle? First, create a momentum list, a collection of opportunities, tasks, and ideas that demand action. Review it daily, and when clarity strikes, commit to execution within 24 hours. Second, cultivate mental clarity before speed. Use reflection, journaling, or discussion to think through options once. Third, commit to small wins that build confidence and teach discipline in movement. Each completed action feeds energy into the next, creating a ripple effect of productivity and growth. This principle isn't just for business, it applies to relationships, health, and personal growth. Decisions made thoughtfully, but acted upon decisively create trust, respect, and results. Remember, the key is balanced deep thought paired with purposeful speed. Don't let your ideas languish in indecision. Desire, insight, and decisive movement are the engines of progress. Move with clarity, move with purpose, and move with urgency, and you will find that life begins to reward those who refuse to wait. Mastering your mind before managing your time is a principle too few people truly embrace, yet it is the foundation of all meaningful productivity. You see, time is neutral. Each person receives the same 24 hours. But what separates the successful from the mediocre is not the hours themselves. It's how they are directed by the mind. If your mind is scattered, overwhelmed, or reactive, then all the time in the world is wasted. I've learned over the years that the first step to accomplishing anything significant is mental clarity. Before you attempt to schedule, plan, or execute, you must first command your inner state. Your mind must be aligned with purpose. Only then can your hours reflect intentional progress. The strategy is simple but profound. Day productivity begins with self-command. You cannot force your day to be productive if your mind is distracted or pessimistic. Every decision, every action, stems from the thoughts you allow to dominate your consciousness. I remember early in my career struggling to focus because my mind bounced from worry to excitement to doubt. The breakthrough came the day I disciplined my mornings with quiet reflection, journaling my priorities, and reviewing my goals. Suddenly, each task was clear, each decision deliberate, and every hour counted. Practical steps make this principle actionable. Start each morning with at least 15 minutes of reflection or journaling. Write down your priorities, review your goals, and align your intentions for the day. Guard your mental diet carefully, avoid negative news, gossip, or distractions before you begin work. These inputs dictate your mental state far more than most realize. Finally, recenter every hour by asking yourself, is my mind where my body is? This simple check prevents mindless activity and keeps you tethered to purpose. You will notice tasks are completed faster, decisions become clearer, and stress diminishes. Remember, time is an instrument, the mind is the musician. Without mastery of the mind, the hours play a discordant tune. Invest in mental discipline first, and your time will sing. Mastering your mind before attempting to manage your time is one of the most powerful yet overlooked principles of success. Time itself is neutral. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but it is the clarity and command of your mind that determines whether those hours are spent building a life of purpose or simply passing by. If your mind is scattered, overwhelmed, or reactive, all the planning and scheduling in the world will amount to little more than busy work. I've seen many people, myself included early in my journey, work long hours yet achieve little because their focus was fragmented. The breakthrough always comes when you learn to first bring order to your thoughts. The strategy is deceptively simple. Productivity begins with self-command. You must first learn to control your inner state, your emotions, and your thoughts. When your mind is aligned, your actions flow with purpose, and your time becomes a tool rather than a trap. Without mental discipline, even the most meticulously structured schedule fails. In my own experience, I began dedicating the first moments of my day to reflection and journaling, reviewing my goals, and setting clear intentions. This daily ritual transformed my approach. Tasks were completed more efficiently, decisions became clearer, and stress diminished. Practical steps make this philosophy actionable. Start each morning with at least 15 minutes of quiet reflection or journaling. Write down your priorities, review your long-term goals, and clarify the outcomes you want from your day. Guard your mental diet carefully. Avoid negative news, gossip, or distractions before you begin work, because your thoughts dictate your actions far more than you realize. Every hour, pause and ask yourself, is my mind where my body is? This simple check helps you recenter, ensuring that your focus and energy are fully applied to the tasks that matter. Over time, this practice not only enhances productivity, but also strengthens your self-discipline and resilience. When you master your mind first, time becomes your ally instead of your enemy. Your hours gain power, your actions gain purpose, and your results naturally follow. Invest in your mental discipline. and every moment will work for you. Emotions are powerful forces in our lives, capable of driving both incredible triumphs and devastating setbacks. The key distinction lies in whether emotions serve you or control you. They are excellent servants when guided by reason, values, and principles, yet they become terrible masters when allowed to dictate our decisions. I've witnessed people, even with immense potential, lose opportunities, wealth, and relationships simply because they allowed a fleeting anger, fear, or excitement to rule their actions. Early in my journey, I too learned the hard way that reacting impulsively often costs far more than patience ever would. The philosophy here is clear: you must learn to discipline your disappointment, your frustration, and your desire. Success does not come to those who react emotionally. It comes to those who act consistently, wisely, and in alignment with their principles. Emotional mastery is not suppression. It's direction. It's learning to pause, reflect, and choose responses that support long-term goals rather than short-term feelings. Those who succeed consistently are not devoid of emotion. They simply refuse to be controlled by it. They act from a place of awareness, not impulse. The strategy is actionable and straightforward. Make principle-driven decisions instead of mood-driven ones. Never commit to financial investments, career moves, or critical conversations when emotions are heightened. Take the time to write down your feelings, journal your thoughts, and analyze the situation before acting. This creates mental space to respond with clarity rather than react with chaos. Another practical step is to maintain a personal rule book. 3 written standards that guide how you handle disappointment, conflict, and temptation. These rules act as guardrails, ensuring your emotional responses are aligned with your values and long-term objectives. Over time, they train your mind to remain calm under pressure, reinforcing discipline in every aspect of life. When you make emotions your servant rather than your master, clarity emerges. You make better decisions, cultivate stronger relationships, and allow consistency and patience to compound into meaningful results. Emotional control is not optional. It is a cornerstone of freedom, wealth, and a life well lived.